Cheers. There's nothing in it. This is just to show you my new mug on my website, charliesimons.com. Let's talk about politics and religion because that's what I do on Do Not Talk. Talking about two things you're never supposed to talk about: politics and religion. This mug is very reason. How come I can't say reasonably? Oh, I just did. Very reasonably priced, and it's a big 15 ounces. I like big mugs, and I cannot lie. Them other brothers can't deny. So find this at charliesimons.com. Of course, it's red. Pretty crazy? Of course it is. And also find this hat, charliesimons.com right there. This is the distressed dad hat. There's several different hats with different things on them, including my favorite, make pedophiles scared again. Yeah, that's my mantra. The other one is Trump was right about everything. It's another very controversial hat, but people are buying them. They're going to charliesimons.com, and that's helping support this ministry. You're helping me stay on the air that way through the website that my friend Rudy Recile built me. Thanks, Rudy. And yes, he's on the show today. He created charliesimons.com. Thank you, partner. charliesimons.com, charliesimons.com. Buy some merchandise. Click on that merch store tab, would you please? You can also book a guest slot on this show if you want to be on. You can help me financially. It would be extraordinary. Thank you. Thank you to the wonderful person who just contributed $100 to me to keep this show going and on the air. An anonymous gift of $50, another $100 gift from Mike and Marilyn. Thank you for that. And sometimes people want to remain anonymous. I get it. I'm just glad you're supporting the ministry. It's exciting. It's thrilling. Thank you, Lord, for these people, and thank you for the show. And please help me to do the best job I possibly can. In your name, Lord Jesus. Amen. We do talk about politics and religion, but we talk about a lot of other things too. And you're part of Team Charlie. If you join me, you can join that too, by the way, and get on that mailing list. I don't spam. And I certainly would never sell your information to anybody else. Never. So you can join Team Charlie, all at charliesimons.com. Now, one more thing I want to ask you to do is hit that like button. You help break down the algorithms and then share these shows because Facebook deleted all of my Facebook pages and my Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, because I violated some community standard. They didn't bother telling me what it was. I've written them several times. Um, Nothing. No response back. 40,000 people, boom, suddenly gone. I'm out of their life. So I can't let them know about new shows I'm putting on. So that falls on you if you can help me by sharing these shows wherever you're watching. Rumble.com/do not talk. There's a share button right down below there, as well as that like button. And hit like and share these shows, please. Wherever you're watching right now, I'm live on YouTube at Charlie Simons. I'm live on twitch.tv/Charlie Simons, live on there right now. All these different platforms on LinkedIn right now, live. You can share on your page. So please do that. You'll be helping. All right, my friend. Oh, and while you're checking things out, hold your camera up to that little QR code. That'll take you to nuevalife.com/Charlie Simons, where you can check out, as I had this morning, a cup of nootropic coffee. It's Colombian coffee mixed with a whole bunch of different other great healthy things for your mind and body. Nueva Life also just got this in the mail. I'm going to start trying this, and it's increased blood flow, and it's all about energy, performance, endurance, focus. They also have collagen, snow collagen with peptides. Yeah, you know that lingo, you know how important that is. And here's the best part: all their ingredients are actually on their products, made in the United States of America. That's the most important thing to me. USA first, America first, make America great again. Yeah, I'm all about that. So thank you for joining me here. Leo Naranjo also is going to be on with Rudy Recile. We're talking about the state of California. Ooh, are you in for a roller coaster ride? I do think so. So let's get this party started right now and do not talk. Ready? Hit it. Front and center, gentlemen. What's going on?
Yeah, we're alive and kicking. Ain't dead yet.
Afternoon.
Absolutely. Leo is running for governor of the state of California next November 2026, and running in Northern California, the Bay Area, which is polluted with lefties, is Rudy Recile going for John Garamendi's seat. Is John Garamendi even present? Does he know that he's running for office?
He hasn't closed his campaign yet, and I just recently found out there's 3 other Democrats running as well. So I'll be running up against 4 Democrats.
And with the jungle primary, where the top 2 vote getters, regardless of party affiliation, go to the big election in November, that's actually a benefit to you, isn't it? Because it'll split that Democrat vote.
Yeah, definitely.
That's a big benefit to you. And you're at, what is it, a 20-plus district? You are in
D plus 26. D plus 26.
Yeah, that's it. D plus 26. Explain for anybody who doesn't know what that means.
Well, it's just like if you were in a 100-meter race, a 100-yard race, they're starting on the 26-yard line, and I'm starting at the starting line. So bottom line up front is they've got more Democrats available to vote than we have straight Republicans. So
Leo, one thing I know, once you get to know Rudy better, and I wanted to have you both on at the same time because both of you have talked with me about the frustrations of the California Republican Party, and even Central Committee, some of them. We've talked about that. We're going to continue because we got to get the word out about vote no on 50. If it isn't too late, if that passes, we're ski-rood. They're going to redistrict everything. It'll be Governor Hairdo deciding who's representing you, and I don't want that.
And it's not just Governor Hairdo, though.
No, of course it isn't. But ultimately, he's the top, isn't he now? And we know he'd sign it into law. But they're turning this over to, it's the will of the people, and the will of the people are being swayed by millions of dollars pumped into advertising campaigns. I'm seeing like crazy now. Yes on 50, save democracy. You know what? Keep your democracy. We're a constitutional republic, you slug. I don't want to hear from you about your democracy anymore. Our founding fathers were dead set against it because it doesn't work. But that's all part of the Communist Manifesto, man. All part of the Communist Manifesto. So Rudy and meet Leo. Leo is running for governor of California next year. Leo Naranjo and Rudy Recile. I wanted to get you two together because you remind me of each other. First of all, you're both U.S. Army veterans, and I love that. Leo was on the non-com side. He was a sergeant, and Rudy, you retired as a major.
Yes.
That's extraordinary. Congratulations and hooah.
You have 2 retirees here. He retired as a major, and I retired as a sergeant.
There you go.
There you go. So I appreciate that, and those are the kind of people I want running my government. I really do. I don't want any more politicians running this state because look what the politicians have done to this state. So how do you win the hearts and minds? I'm asking this of both of you. Let's start with you, Leo. How do you win the hearts and minds of people who, first of all, are apathetic and don't even want to get involved on our side? How do you win their hearts and minds over?
That's a real hard one, being the fact that the party is pretty much doing the best they can through their organizations, through their groups, in my humble opinion, to water down the field. They're controlling the central committees to only adhere to a candidacy list they provide. They want you to see the people that they've chosen to choose from for you to pretend that you're actually electing for a gubernatorial candidate that could, quote unquote, win, when the exact opposite is happening. These candidates that are being party driven, party selected, and party pushed, they're not there for our benefit as the public. They're there for the party's benefit, for the financing. They're there for the pundency and the consultants to get paid off of, because that's where the money stream goes in. They don't care if the candidate wins or loses. Consultant gets paid regardless, and they get paid lots of money. Bigger the name, more money they get paid. And so we stopped putting forth candidates that have merit, that are true to their vision, that are true to their cause, and that have a conviction inside of them that this is right, that's wrong, here's what we need to do to fix it. Instead, they want to give you flashing cash, Las Vegas style magician artwork to razzle and dazzle you. And in the end, you think you actually got somebody, and you got something worse than the one that you threw out before. Only now, for this particular race, in my opinion, if we lose this race, it's going to take at least 2 decades before we ever will have another chance to run again as a contender in the Republican Party as a Republican. That's how bad it is for this race and how important it is for this race, in my opinion.
Rudy, you've got a lot of experience with this. How do you win the hearts and minds? I'm not talking about Democrats. I'm not talking about winning over the left. Hopefully, they will be smart enough to realize, good heavens, we're in serious trouble. We need to maybe stop voting the way we voted all our lives.
Well, the
I'm
hardest
talking about our own fellow Republicans. How do you activate them? How do you get them involved? What have you encountered, and how are you doing it?
Well, for the most part, I mean, if you Republicans, the only time that they're going to come out and vote is when they really feel convicted to do so. Presidential year elections are usually a better turnout than the midterms, and we just had the presidential, so now we're going into the midterms coming up next year, and it's a real challenge to get folks to pay attention to what's going on, because I believe that we're in what they call a voter depression. And a voter depression is basically voters feel that the field is just flooded in the opposite direction, and they do not have a chance to win whatever they do, And the reality of it is that we have a chance to win a lot of these races, and you have to vote the whole ballot. And you can't just vote the top of the ticket. You can't just vote a portion of the ticket. You got to vote the entire ticket.
Thank you.
So,
Which means
and
you actually have to sit there and read your voter pamphlet and what these propositions are all about and so on.
right, exactly. And not only that,
Senate bills.
but you also have to pay attention to who's running. So next year, it's going to be a gubernatorial race. So people are going to be voting. So I expect a bigger turnout than in 2020. Okay. Or 2022. Sorry. Because it's a gubernatorial race, people will be paying attention more. So we should get a little better voter turnout. But the challenge is making sure that that whether you're an independent or a Republican, that you understand that your vote counts. We lose so many races, and especially like school board races, mayoral races, our local races. We lose a lot of those by less than 15 votes, 50 votes, 100 votes. And if we were to get more people to turn out and vote in those races, we could turn over a lot of these city councils. We could turn over a lot of these school board races. We have to be able to get candidates. We have to find candidates that are willing to run. Did you know that there's a lot of races that never show up on the ballot just because the person who's running is running unopposed? So, for example, water district. You ever pay attention to what your water bill is and how high it is, or at what level that it is? Well, there's someone that's actually running that and making a decision how much of the taxes goes towards your water bill. And if that person runs unopposed, then guess what? Their name never shows up on the ballot. Let's say that you've got 3 districts or 5 districts in your county, and one of the district supervisors runs unopposed. Guess what? They're not going to show up on the ballot. So number one, we need to find candidates out there that are willing to run in all of these varying races. Number two, we have got to be able to get people out there and understanding that their vote actually counts. I don't know how many times I've been out at a state fair, a local fair, Dixon May Fair, the Vacaville Fiesta Days, and I talk to voters, and they're just like, "Oh, I don't vote." And I'm like, "Why? You should get out there and vote." "Well, my vote doesn't count." And I'm like, "Yes, it does." We lost a Vacaville supervisor's race by 75 votes. The entire city of Antioch at one time, I believe it was in 2022, they could have turned over the entire city council with 15 votes. seats were decided by less than 5 votes. So people have got to understand that your vote counts. But not only does it count at the lower levels, it counts on the entire ticket. So you can't just vote at the top of the ticket. You have
And
to
that's
vote
what so
for
many
the
of us
entire
do.
ticket.
That's we're notorious for that. In the big election, we'll vote for, well, I know Trump, and well, I know maybe I've heard this name, so I'll vote for them. They're not even reading their voter pamphlets. They're not even getting involved and taking the responsibility seriously. I don't know how to change that. President Trump always talks about too big to rig, and now here with this no on 50 thing. Well, we got to all turn out, so it's too big to rig. Well, they're going to rig it anyway. Trust me on this. I think that
Yeah.
the 50, I hate to say it, but I think 50 will pass, and we're screwed. Leo's right. It's going to be another couple of decades before we ever get any kind of Republican representation if they're drawing the party lines, the districts, and they're going to favor themselves every single time. We tried to take that away from them. That was what we voted for a nonpartisan commission to decide what the district lines are and who's going to represent us. And Governor Hairdo is trying to take that away. He's literally trying to negate the will of the voters, but he's done that on many other things that he took an oath of office saying he was going to represent us, and he was going to represent us in the way that we wanted. We voted overwhelmingly to bring back the death penalty. We realized you do have to have consequences for horrible crimes. And he said, one of the first things he said, and the media ignored it, was, nobody's going to die while I'm in office. And not only is he making it to where nobody is being brought to justice on death row, but he's literally changing San Quentin now, which is where most of them were housed. He's changing it in some kind of sweet little club, some sort of little counseling utopia. That's what San Quentin is becoming. This is insane. He's not representing us at all and the will of the people. He's a liar. The truth is not in him. And now he's telling you to vote yes on 50. I hope you'll plan accordingly to not do that. But I hope you also don't vote by mail, because there's no better way for them to cheat than you mailing in that ballot. But if you already have, more power to you. But if you could drop it off in a drop box, the drop boxes are open like 2 weeks before the election. They're about to open up.
No, they're open right now. Drop boxes are open right now.
In some areas they are. Other counties they are not. But or the day of, just go ahead and fill it out, the one that they mail to you, or do what I do. I take it in and I'm going, I want a regular ballot. Take this, and then I tear it up right there so they can't use it or utilize it against me. This is a dirty, dirty state full of election fraud. We're so successful that other states are using our tactics now. Who nefarious people are.
Well, if the cheating is going to happen, it's not going to happen in front of your face. The cheating is going to happen behind closed doors. It's going to happen. They're going to do the bait and switch on where the ballots are. I mean, because the ballots have got to move from the point where they come into a room, then they get torn out of the envelopes, get ripped open, and then not ripped open, but they're cut open so that way that they can check the signatures. And then once they check the signatures, then it's got to move to another place. And then as it moves through each one of those sections, you don't know when the new ballots will show up so that they get counted, And it's not like you can go in and check every ballot to make sure, because once you separate the ballot from the envelope, that's it. You just got a stack of ballots. So one thing I was always curious about is, do they ever keep account of the number of envelopes versus the number of actual physical ballots that are counted?
Probably not.
And then because they know how many ballots get counted at the polls, because they have a count and they have to have actual printout. I've seen the printouts, that says, okay, X number of people voted at this polling place. But do they keep track of how many envelopes that they actually opened versus the number of envelopes that they counted? That's always my big question. And I've never been given a solid answer on that.
The state is broke. The state is broke. And this special election that Governor Hairdo has created is costing us over $300 million. We're broke. Oh, we can't help the homeless. Oh, we can't fix the roads, even though we're all paying.
Oh, they can help the homeless.
Yeah, they're going to help that money will be found for them. That's not a problem.
Definitely.
as long as they can, what do they call it? Ballot harvesting. As long as they can ballot harvest all the homeless camps, and they do.
Charlie, it was going to cost us $300 million to eject that man early in a recall. And Randy Economy had put that forward, and our deadline to meet those obligations was in the month of September of this year. $300 million. That's too expensive. And besides, he's going to get voted out anyway. Yeah, but the difference is voting him out 7 months early and mitigating the damage that he could have done. Now we're stuck with a $300 million bill and 8 months more damage that he's going to do before he's finally removed from office by term limits. So
well, look at President Autopin. How much damage did he do? Forget 7 months. He did it in 7 days. All the pardons and so on and so forth. They can inflict a whole lot of damage in a very short period of time when they have total control, and they do in California. We are in the minority, big time. So
and
we got to reach out.
You couple it with the problem, the other problem that we have, especially for this cycle. This is why I say this is a generational moment cycle for us. We've already lost upwards of 2 million people in population from this state since 2020. The last count that I had, it cost us a congressional seat. So that was in the 2020 official census. We've already lost a congressional seat because of that mess. And at the time it was reported, we are on the verge of losing 5 more because of our population growth. Now, depending on who you ask, we've probably balanced out even, a little bit ahead, a little bit behind. I don't believe any of that nonsense because people are still leaving or on the verge of leaving. So we have a ton of voters who have left, a ton of voters who are getting ready to leave. We have a ton of people who supposedly are coming in. We don't know what their affiliation is. We don't really know the affiliations of the people have left.
They've replaced us with illegals.
Right. In 2022, we had 51% of our electorate voting population not vote at all. So it's not just Republicans that are sitting, it's Democrats that are sitting. People are so watered down by both parties, especially ours, that they've given up because what can they expect? You have a candidate that makes promises and platitudes and everything else, and nothing's moved. You have people that the party tells you are the good candidates, and if they get elected to office, you find out the exact opposite. And I get that we need to have people run for different offices, but let's be a little bit frank and honest. Why the hell would I want to run as a Republican and have to face the Democrats next? But the first people I have to deal with who are going to attack everything about me is my own freaking party, to chastise me for even having the courage to stand up and say, I'll run for this seat. And you're pounced on by everybody under the sun, literally called not worthy, not able, not intelligent enough, not knowledgeable enough, basically that you're worthless to run. Why would anybody subject themselves to that nonsense? Which is why we have a lot of decent people who refuse to run because the party crucifies them when they do.
Have you found that to be true, Rudy, on your side of things in NorCal?
No, I haven't found that. Well, let me say this first. I think that we've got to get on the positive train.
Yep.
Okay. Because all we ever do as Republicans is talk about how we don't have enough. We don't have this. We don't have that. There are plenty enough people out there. There's 1.1 million gun owners who don't vote. There are at least 60% of all people of religion, I don't care what religion, that don't vote. Okay. That have the same, they've got the same values that we do. They understand, where we're coming from. And I don't believe that they side, much with the left. Okay. And the thing about it is that we've got to be more positive about our message. I mean, people see these podcasts all the time, and all we do is complain, how we don't have, when we should be saying that we do have the power. We do have the people that will turn out. We just need to make sure that they do turn out. We have the ability to win a lot of these races if people will just come out and turn out and vote. So, we have to talk to our constituents. We have to talk to our populace as, hey, we have that power. I have seen the power of people showing up at various meetings, whether it's GOP, CRA, Women's Federated. They will turn out in numbers. And that's where the message really comes out. People pay attention to their local clubs. People pay attention to what's going on. And if you can get your name out there, that's where it counts. Podcasts like this are things, and when people like and share, or go to our websites, like for example, you can go to my website at rudy4foruscongress.com. You can find our different messages that we have that we're trying to put out, and see the positivity in the fact that if you were to put your vote behind someone like Leo or myself, that you will be able to make a difference in your community. You have the ability to make that difference with your vote. We have got to get on the positive train with this and let people know that their vote actually does count. And who cares what the state GOP says? Because you know what? The state GOP, they don't have a voice at the local level. They don't have a voice with your neighbor next door. They don't have a voice with the people that you're talking to at the grocery store.
And they're not even invited to join their club unless you have money to pay them.
Well, no, when it comes to central committees, they always have an open meeting.
I'm not talking about central committee. I'm talking about the state GOP.
The state GOP doesn't care. They just want a donation. They just want a donation from you. But you're not even joining anything when you donate.
Thank God for the central committees.
Right.
Or at least some of them. Some of them, especially over there in your area, Rudy, the Bay Area, there's been some very dirty dealings going on with this.
Exactly. But when you donate to the state GOP, you're just donating into a bucket of money. Okay, you don't get a membership card, and it doesn't mean anything to them.
You do. In the next envelope, they give you a membership card, asking you for even more money.
Exactly.
You take this out, put it in your wallet. Look, it's GOP. Go ahead.
I'd rather have my Pilot or my Flying J membership card, because at least there I save 10 cents per gallon. I don't save anything with the state GOP card.
Good point.
AARP gives you some money off when you go to a diner.
There you go.
Yeah, that's right. Military discount.
Military discount them too.
Both the Army guys, you've called the shots. You've called out cadence. You've organized and directed entire units of men and women serving in our armed forces. Thank God for that. I want more people like you running for office. That's why I keep presenting you to people who are watching my show and going, please at least look at their website, see what you think, and get more involved. You were both recently at the California Republican Convention down in SoCal. What was your takeaway from that? Leo, first you.
Oh, hit me again. Well, for me, it was an eye-opening experience. It was the very first convention that I went to, and I brought my wife down to it so that she could see. And I'll leave out how her explanation was afterwards, but I thought it was eye-opening. There were a lot of individuals there running for office, putting their names out there, meeting, greeting, and everything else. But I got the feeling, this is my own personal opinion, I got the feeling that a lot of it was centered around the federal level of conversation, congressional talks, senatorial talks, stuff like that. A lot of meet and greets to me for the local level, congressional, I wasn't really paying attention to the assembly or legislature at the state level, but for the local level governor's race, I think a lot of that to me in my mind was centered around the two people that the party is pushing, solely those two people. You could see news folks doing interviews with people of that camp, but when you tried to contact them for any time, any recognition, any let's have a sip of soda or anything else like that, I got another engagement. I already got my quota. I was getting ready to leave. We'll get back. I mean, the BS nonsense was everywhere, and so you have it tailored because that's what they want. And like Rudy said, it's about gaining money. And so we had a government form that was a snapshot form, but lo and behold, there was another form given out there that was not even on record at the flyers that we had. There was no announcement for this next forum. And it was the second forum where candidates showed up, pre-selected, handpicked, invite only. The Tea Party popped that one behind closed doors, and that was it. So I think it was tailored to what they wanted. It was tailored to the numbers. And if you weren't involved, or if you weren't part of the number tailoring game, if you weren't part of the clique, you were excluded, you're discounted, And we've already been given the instructions, according to certain GOP memberships, that these are the two, like it or not, and you'll just have to make a decision. And I think the grassroots candidates are going to have a hard fight, but they're being, you have to be honest with yourself. As I say, you have to be honest with yourself, honest with your platform, and you can't BS people. They might, folks might consider voters slow. I consider voters to be smart enough to know they see BS and they know BS when they see it most of the time. um and that's what you have to rely on. Be honest, be candid, be open, and be sincere in your message. Because if you can't, hey, you want to hear promises and vague guarantees, either side, they'll give you that all day long. And that's why we're in the mess we're in. That's my opinion from my level for my candidacy.
Rudy, what was your takeaway from the California Republican convention?
Well, my big thing is that it was very disappointing to see that there wasn't enough representation out there. In other words, not enough participation of delegates, not enough participation of people just coming out to the convention. Considering that we've got 1,400 delegate votes and that we only had 600 and change people show up. So that means that there were more proxy votes than there was actual delegates, physical delegates that were actually being represented there at the convention. Uh, and I see that as a problem because we should have one person, one vote, not one person, three votes. The way that they did it in the general sessions. Now, so far as the rest of the convention is concerned, there's politics is politics, and when you have money, you've got power, and that's really what it boils down to. But there was a lot of candidates that were there that were running for governor and running for various seats. And it's all about networking and getting yourself known. And this being my seventh or eighth convention that I've been to in the past 5 years, it's people are getting to know me better. And it's one of those things where in order to participate, that's how people get to know you. And you have to get to those forums where they allow you to speak. For example, the Salt and Light Council. You get to the Salt and Light Council meeting, they let all the candidates get up there and speak. Everybody gets 2 minutes. You get up there and speak, and you have that opportunity to get your name out there. And these conventions are really just about that, just getting your name out, getting
As well, it
recognized.
should be. Even the California
Yeah.
State Fair, as dismal as it is, has every single county in the state represented.
Mhm.
They get a table, they get an area. Okay, show us how great you are. Here's your building. That's the California
Yeah.
State Fair. My own
Mhm.
state Republican Party doesn't seem to be interested in that. We've already chosen for you. Just listen to these people. Don't listen to anyone else. But thank God for the Salt Light Council. Thank God for the Petcheniks, Gerald and
Yeah.
Mindy, who are always doing the California Republican Assembly. Thank God for these people,
Mhm.
because otherwise you wouldn't hear from anyone. And that's so frustrating to me. These conventions are supposed to be the time like, here's everyone is running. We have a strong bench. I want you to hear from them. Please pay attention and then make up your mind. To me,
Mhm.
that is what the convention's supposed to be about, but that's not what it is it?
Right. So that's why you have to make your way to the appropriate meetings where that you can meet up with a lot of these folks in order to do this. And at the conventions, especially on Friday or an early Saturday morning, that's when they try to. That's the first time that the varying organizations get a chance to actually physically see each other, because usually they're doing the meetings just like this on Zoom or on Skype or whatever it is. But for example, the Northwest region, the only time that they actually physically get together is at the convention. And that's twice in a non-presidential election year and once during an election year. So, so that's where the challenge really is. I mean, and when you go to a lot of these meetings, they're trying to get business done that's in person, so that way people get informed. So a lot of times uh these different meetings are a challenge in order to what you would think is garner support, but realistically the convention really is just about networking more than anything else, having that opportunity to meet people, get your name out there if you're able to put up posters or signs. And that's how come it's so important to be able to donate to your local candidates, because if you don't donate to your local candidates, They can't even put up posters. They can't put up signs because all of those things cost money. You know, if you had $8 a month to give to the 8th district, which I'm running in the 8th district, that would be great. And that's less than a cup of coffee. If you think about it, that's $2 a week. That's $2 a week. $2 a week you could give to the 8th district, which would help to support me, you know. And you can just go to my website at rudy4foruscongress.com and you can donate over there. And Leo, where are you at? What's your website?
I'm in Elk Grove. My webpage is Leo Naranjo, the number 4governor.com.
So yeah, you can donate to either of us, you know. I mean,
Or
you
both.
can donate
Or
exactly.
both.
Exactly. Do both. And that's all it would take is that every month you know just put in a reoccurring donation and it would really help us. And trust me, I'm not going to be squandering it on frivolous things. I mean, I don't have enough to be able to go out to the French Laundry, okay, to have dinner, you know. So every dollar that I get either goes to a sign or goes to a piece of equipment that I need in order to make these types of things happen, or puts,
And I know
you know,
this
an
is
extra
true,
dollar of
Leo,
gas
because
in my tank.
I know this is true, Leo, because I've actually helped Rudy put up signs. I've been right there with him out there pounding in steaks and all this kind of stuff. I don't know how effective they are, especially in your district.
They're effective. I was a sign campaign manager for a gentleman that I know, Jeff Atterbury, that was running for city council in Roseville, and he cut me loose with the signs that he had. It was a one-man show, basically, pretty much me after my security shift at Hewlett Packard. So midnight running without having to deal with traffic, I loved it. And at first, he told me that he got complaints that there were too many signs. But by the time it was getting close to the election time frame, they were calling in the city council complaining that large swaths of them were disappearing. And come to find out, a couple of bot members of the fire department were taking ropes, lining up 30 or 40 at a whack, woo, pulling them all off at one time. The populace basically stated you couldn't go anywhere from one end of Roseville to the other end without stepping, seeing, or noticing a Jeff Atterbury for city council sign. That's how impactful I was. And by putting them up in the way that I did,
he win? Did he win?
He was facing off against 3 money bags. So it was a 3-man contested seat. But what I ended up doing by my activities were those 3 people put all their signs on one posting. And they went from the 6x8 type signs, the normal ones you see. They actually started to put them to overshadow me by buying the $4,000 or $5,000 billboard, 20 by 30 foot tall, long. Yeah, so it was impacted. He didn't win, unfortunately. He came in respectful 4th, unfortunately, but it was recorded.
Well, that's why I asked, how effective are they?
Races.
How effective are these signs? Would it be more effective to take that money and put it into advertising on social media?
Today's way, yes. In that time frame, 30 some odd years ago, I don't think so. It was just budding out. But in today's money, for today's purposes, you got a lot of old guard members that don't like social media at all. They'll do everything they can to discount it. And these are the people that haven't understood the concept. Technology has advanced and changed.
They're the ones who are going to vote for you anyway.
Yep.
If they're Republican, if they're conservative, you have an R in front of your name, they're going to vote for you anyway. So that's fine that you don't want to do social media. Okay, Gramps, why don't you sit over there and we're going to target some people who are maybe of a younger demographic and see if we can win their hearts and minds. I think as much as I despise social media, I've had Meta delete every single one of my Facebook pages and my Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, delete every single page. So suddenly I'm like, son of a gun. Now I'm having to explore everything. I'm on TikTok now, by the way. I forgot to mention that earlier. I'm on TikTok. You'll find me, CharLee Simons, there. And it's been growing like crazy. It's been quite amazing. And I fought against TikTok the whole way. Because I'm one of those.
Well, now that it's owned by the United States, now that we have to deal with the United States, I feel better about it.
Exactly. That's why I decided to go for it. But do you get my point though? I mean, signs are great, but I think they're more effective
social media today, in my opinion, it gives you an opportunity as a candidate, especially on the Republican side where you're outnumbered physically 2-1. It gives you the opportunity to reach people who would otherwise have nothing to do with you openly for whatever reason they want to give. But on the internet, in the privacy of their own home, let me check out this Rudy guy and see if he's worth my time. Even though you're a diehard Democrat, he might be what you're looking for, because the guy that you have might be losing his damn mind talking about he wants to take all of your children, transgender them, and you have to be accepted or else we arrest you, the parent. And that's how
Just right
your
there, what
branch.
you just said, I
Yeah,
think would reach so many people and be a powerful. So I'm just throwing that out to you guys.
right.
I'm a media guy, so I'm radio and television and some print to some extent, but that's that audience has diminished so dramatically, and people are winning hearts and minds through social media. President Trump's online campaign was extraordinary, and now we got him as president, thank God. But he had Charlie Kirk in his, behind him, pushing him,
But
and
social
that
media is
made
not going to social media is not going to work unless if people do the simplest thing and like and share. If they
Yeah.
don't like your content and share your content,
Good
you can
point.
blast it out there to God and country and everybody gets it. But then it's just like junk mail. It sits there. And
You're
it doesn't
talking
do
about
anything.
on you just doing a post. I'm not.
No,
I'm
I'm
talking
not
about
talking.
actually.
I'm talking.
I'm talking about
I'm
actually
talking.
buying commercial time.
No, I get it.
Social
My
media.
point being is that you could get that commercial and it'll say, point and click, like this, whatever. But if you're not gonna like and share it, if you're not gonna find a way to get other people to
Then
see
ask them
your
to.
content,
Ask us to
you
in
know,
the spot that you cut. Even if it's just you
exactly.
one-on-one, doesn't have to be a
Right.
slick production, just speaking honestly from the heart and go, if you would
Mhm,
share this, if you would like this, if you would share it with others on your page, you'll be helping this tremendously as we go
mhm,
against the establishment. And everybody
mhm.
talks about going against the establishment, but yet everybody seems to be lockstep with it.
But Rudy hit it
Well,
on the head right away, because no matter what you do, no matter how you do it, no matter what you say, no matter how you say it, where you say it, post it, paper it, sign it, social media, the bottom line at the end of the day, if you as an individual voter do not get off your little tush and cast the ballot, it doesn't
True.
matter what you do, how you do it, where you spend
Very
it.
true. You're right.
That's the end result. If you don't vote, then it's all for naught. You have to participate. You are part of the system, whether you agree to do it or not. You are part of what happens to your government, whether you vote or not. And you are politicized, whether you cast that ballot or not. But if you want to have a voice and a say to make alterations of where you're going that you don't like, you have to get into the fight by casting a ballot. Bottom line.
He's right,
that's
Rudy.
yeah,
He's right. And
yeah.
I've been championing that for a few years now. Get registered to vote, for heaven's sake. Only about
Mhm.
40% of those who claim to be Christian are even registered. As you threw that stat out earlier, Rudy, 60% of, and you said it doesn't even matter which denomination or which, I mean, whether it's Islamic or Buddhist or whatever, only 60% of them are not voting.
Correct. Yeah, and I mean, and
Now,
that's the whole thing. So you have to get out there and vote, and it's I blame it on not. I'm not. Let me rephrase that. The leaders of these various organizations, regardless of which religion there is, they have to understand that just because you talk about something that is controversial. Remember when Prop 1 came out and it was about abortion, right? You know,
nobody talked about it. Nobody.
Exactly. Exactly. And that if
Except
the
me.
if people of religion had turned out and voted, it would never have passed. So talking about what you believe in and how that is reflected in your government doesn't mean that the government's going to be coming crashing down on you, taking away your 501c3, because that's your belief. That's what you believe in. That's what your ministry is about. That's what your church is about. And to speak on those things, is not illegal for you to do that. They're not going to come by and take away your 501c3 because you're talking about what you believe in. And when you talk about those things that you believe in, that's perfectly fine. So our clergy that are out there, the people that lead these various churches and their various congregations need to understand that you speak on your heart, speak on what you believe in, and match that up to what our Constitution says. Match that up to what is on the ballot, what's coming out. Your right to vote. We are God's authority here on earth. But how do you project that authority unless if you turn out and vote? And that's why Prop 50 is so important. That's why people need to get out there and vote. They need to understand that we are making our decision because we, the people, had already voted on this over 15 years ago to say, hey, this is what we wanted. We wanted an independent commission to make the lines and draw the lines on what our districts are going to look like. We're not going to allow the politicians to draw those lines. And that's our right. That's our authority. And it's God's will that we choose those things and make a decision for our people to represent our people. And if we
Now, how
don't
can
do
Rudy
that,
say it's God's will? How does he know God's will? Because it's spelled out in his word, the Holy Bible. And we got to start voting biblically with biblical principles. I was so encouraged, Leo and Rudy, just recently. I was watching some old time Western channel, and they have cutaways for local ads and national stuff too. There was a commercial from a Catholic church organization encouraging Catholics to vote along our principles of life, traditional marriage. This is the Catholic, which has been so overrun by so many on the left. This is a Catholic organization reminding you, vote biblical principles and vote what you as a Catholic believe in, and regardless how slick or good they sound or look or say the right things, how are they biblically based? Both of you are believers. Both of you, it's very important. That's what I look for. It's one of the first questions I ask when I have new people on I haven't met before. I just come right out and ask them. I am not going to vote for somebody who goes, well, I think abortion's okay, and it's just a woman's right to choose, and I have to follow the legal law of the land. Well, the legal law of the land changed, didn't it, when Roe v. Wade was overturned by our Supreme Court? Thank God. I think it's a cop out, a terrible cop out. Why don't you take a stance for life? Now, if you're biblically principled, then I'm in alignment with you. It's that basic and that simple. So I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Rudy. Leo, give us your final thoughts. Would you give us your elevator pitch? Because we got to wrap this up here.
No, my elevator pitch for those out there is: look, you have a gentleman that's running in a very blue district, as he says, plus 20 whatever district, and he's already behind the 8 ball. And to me, it makes it more of a challenge. Is it impossible to win? No. The difficult is easy. The impossible just makes it a little difficult, a little bit harder to do. He's an Army veteran. He's an officer within the military that retired. And I'm an NCO that was in the military that retired. So when you look at us as gentlemen to go forward in our military backgrounds, we know what adversity is. We know how to overcome adversity. We know what being against the odds entails, what being undermanned, undergunned, and overwhelmed could be. And we can go forward regardless. So you look at this as, to me, I look at this as a political warfare in different version. You have a lot of people who are against you. How do I change their minds? You have to be straightforward. You have to be honest, and you have to be convinced in what you're saying, whether that's at the federal level or whether that's at the state level or the local level for your government. You have to convince people to trust you, which means you have to earn their trust. A major has done that by the virtue of his rank. An NCO like myself has done that by the virtue of our rank. We didn't successfully retire because we were idiots that couldn't get people motivated. We successfully retired because we did just that. We were successful at motivating people to do the job that needed to be done. And if you give us that opportunity, you'll be surprised. Both of us will be able to do that for you in the positive way, not in the nonsensical way that some people want to take us to.
Several years, Major Recile here was attached with and assigned to working in the Pentagon. I am so glad I got you two together because Major Recile, Sergeant Naranjo here actually spent some time in military intelligence. So you guys, I'd love to hear you two sit down and swap some stories, man. I'd love that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to be able to do that. And running for Congress is not an easy thing. It's a challenging thing. And I mean, make sure that you check out your candidates, whatever you do. When you get that ballot, just don't throw it in the junk pile mail. Make sure you take your ballot, pull it out, and read what it has to say. I mean, and even with Prop 50, you have to read that thing carefully, because Prop 50, for example, isn't just for one election. It's not just for next year. They're saying until 2031. 2031, that's how far they're going to set aside the California Constitution. That's 3 elections that they want to set it aside for. And, people are going to forget it about that time. And then they're going to slip it into the ballot again to say, well, let's continue to set it aside for how much more longer. So make sure that you read your ballots when you get them. Take the time to read it, understand it, and go ask somebody. Go to my website. You can find me at rudy4uscongress.com. You can go there and get hold of me and say, hey, Rudy, what does this mean? I don't get it. I don't understand it. Or go to your local GOP central committee, your county central committee, or go to your California Republican Assembly committee. Association club. There are all kinds of clubs out there that can help answer your questions if you're confused. You just got to make the time to do it. And so get out there and vote, whatever you do, and check out your candidates and make sure that, hey, your vote does count. Don't think that your vote doesn't count, because it does count.
And if you don't vote, it still counts. It counts even more so, as
counts for the opposition.
Exactly. As evidenced by the demons we have running the state right now. So we know Rudy 4, that's FOR Congress,
US Congress.
US Congress. Rudy 4 uscongress.com. Leo, you have the number 4 in your website address.
Leo Naranjo, the number 4 governor.com.
Say it again.
Leo Naranjo, the number 4 governor.com.
Okay, for anyone listening and not actually watching, how do you spell Naranjo?
Naranjo, November, Alpha, Romeo, Alpha, November, Juliet, Oscar.
That was just for you, Major Recile, that he did that.
I get it.
I got it. Impressive.
No virtue signaling there.
That works.
All right, you guys are great. I'm so glad I had you all together. Thank you for the time.
Thank you for the opportunity, sir. Appreciate it very much, Mr. Rudy. Always a pleasure. Hope to see you again in the future.
Good seeing you too, Leo. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. That was fun, at least for me. I hope it was for you too. But Rudy's completely right. You got to share these shows to let people, hey, here's some people running for office that you might want to get to know. There is a choice. You got to get involved and let people decide for themselves, but it won't happen if you don't share. So please share this show through my website at charliesimons.com. You'll find the shows on there. charliesimons.com. You can also buy yourself one of these awesome new coffee mugs right here. Let's talk about politics and religion, baby. Or get a hat, all kinds of things on there. You won't know unless you go. Click on that merch store tab at charliesimons.com. But also share the show at rumble.com/do-not-talk. And while you're there, like it and follow the channel. You can follow the channel. You'll be helping me grow. I'm up over 3,000 people following my channel at rumble.com/do-not-talk, and it's growing. Thank you, Lord. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America, but most importantly, America bless God. And I hope my salute was proper after having those two guys on, because if not, they'll let me know.